Blessings and welcome to EARTHEART Radio. Finally beginning to awaken from the illusion of separateness and broadcasting live from the KSKQ studios in beautiful Ashland, Oregon. Here's your host, Derek Moody.
Good afternoon, my friends, brothers and sisters, and thanks once again for meeting me here in this space, in this 1 hour time frame to share some good energy on a Sunday. Happy Father's Day. If you're a father, thank you for taking the time to listen to the EARTHEART show. And if you're listening to the archived version later on YouTube, hey, still happy Father's Day to you. I'm a father. I have a couple of daughters, and very blessed to love them both. They're both awesome people, very creative, entrepreneurial, independent, smart, and headstrong women. And, Audrey and Jessica and Audrey. One's in Florida, one's here on the West Coast in Portland. So, yeah, I've got daughters on both coasts. Happy Father's Day. It is one of my favorite times of the week here on Sunday. I am Derek Moody. I've been a resident of the Rogue Valley in this beautiful Southern Oregon paradise since 2011, nearly a decade. I'm quite at home here, and I'm quite sure this is where I'll remain for the rest of this material life that I've chosen and created for myself. Suffer till we get it right, right? Today you'll hear harmonious music and positive news stories to make you smile, and I'll spotlight a Native American saint. My guest today, however, is very well known here in Southern Oregon. He's been playing music many, many years in bars and clubs, festivals and wineries, one-night stands. In the past few years, I've been following his local travels and his personal transformation from a music guy to a spiritual music guy. And as anyone who knows me knows that in my opinion, God is God is God. Okay, we're all climbing up the same proverbial mountain. And like Baba Ram Dass said, we are all just trying to walk each other home. So I've invited him on the show today to discuss his music and his concept and perception of that word, God. And please welcome to the EARTHEART Radio Show, my friend, Frankie Hernandez. Hey, brother.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. Thanks for being here on this Father's Day.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, and happy Father's Day to you.
Yeah, it's not your first rodeo. You've helped out KSKQ in the past with benefits, and you've been a guest many times on the station. So thank you for being here again today.
Oh, it's so my pleasure.
And you're in Ashland, you were saying off the line. Do you live in Ashland currently?
I don't. My daughter does. She's 17. She's going to be a senior here at Ashland High this coming year. I'm very, very excited. Hopefully she'll get to have a school year in the school.
Yeah.
And a graduation, ceremony that would be, in a perfect world, we'll all be moving forward to, something that looks a little more like normalcy.
Yeah.
But I think, there's going to be some amount of us that things are going to be different. And that's just something to accept. But yes, Ariel, she lives a week here with her mom in Ashland, a week with me over in Medford. And I figured, we're doing the interview. I can be closer to Ashland myself.
That's awesome, man. And it's such a great Father's Day. The weather is perfect here in Southern Oregon. And I would like to begin kind of by segueing from what we're saying. Do you think that spirituality is something that is comforting to people in times like this? Is that something you personally fall back on that gives yourself like hope and faith, things like that?
For me, it does. And I think for a lot of people, this is a time to examine, what is bigger than ourselves? Because, I personally am a total control freak.
You're right.
And it's part of the thing that makes me a good musician, because I exercise my control over every instrument that I touch, because I want it to be able to do what I need it to do when I need it to do it. And so I know sometimes I try to do that with my coworkers or my bandmates or my lover or my children, and it doesn't go so well when you kind of work that philosophy with people, and actually it really doesn't go well in your life, because when it comes down to it, we make our plans, and God, the universe has its own mind about what we're here for, and that ties into me believing in myself as a creation.
Yeah.
And as a creation, you had to have been created. And the way I see it is when you look out into the universe, just starting very basically on our planet, we're orbited by a moon that's specifically assigned to our rotation. Okay, and inside of that, we're specifically assigned to a sun, and we rotate around it. The moons rotate around us, and the solar systems rotate around each other, and as far out as you can go. You know, that's the order of literally the universe, as far out as we can experience it. It's set up in a similar fashion.
Hallelujah.
You know? and then as far inward, you know, inner space and quantum physics, you know, it works the same way. The creation comes down to masculine and feminine energy. It comes down to particles and waves. And all of this is in such a grand design that it could only have been created.
Beautiful. Well said, man. Very well said. You know, have you picked, I mean, everyone it seems to be drawn to a particular belief system or set of values that speaks to them. I mean, I know I kind of bounce from thing to thing, and one of my teachers, Bhagavan Das, taught me that God is everything. So it's like I can sit down and go to like a Christian church or a Hindu church or a Buddhism class, and either way, to me, it's all love, you know. And I wonder if you have any certain particular spiritual path that's called your name that you follow, perhaps, or what do you do it? How do you do it?
Well, to me, I was born to a pretty traditional family. So I was born to a Catholic family. My father was a United States Army colonel. So, you know, it's a very conservative military Catholic family. And, you know, at a very young age, you know, because of the way I was indoctrinated, I knew for a fact that if people loved God, that the world would be a better place. Like I just knew this as a truth. And, you know, I don't not believe that anymore. I still hold that as a truth. Like, I think our perceptions of God can vary from person to person, and it can vary in ourselves, you know, from year to year. But, you know, I was raised Catholic. I believed in the absolute presence and power of God. And, you know, when I hit around age 15, you know, and learned a little bit more about the demands of ministry and no sex, I'm like, oh, okay, that's already a huge red flag. Because at 15,
right.
you know, being sexually active was definitely something that I was all about being a part of.
But you're looking at it honestly, and that's a lot of people don't. They kind of tend to get mixed up in that, and then they kind of like hide that part of it, and then it becomes a problem later. At least I know for you and me, in the past, we have had issues with those things in our lives. And I know you're somebody I look up to because you actually put some of your issues on social media for the world to see as a catalyst for your own change in the past. And I saw that happen. And to me, it was beautiful because you weren't afraid of, well, you might have been, you weren't afraid of being humiliated or whatever it took to be transparent and use that to change yourself in a better way.
Well, when it comes to that, I feel like my biggest job as an artist is to tell the truth.
Yeah.
You know, and the only truth that I know I absolutely govern is my own. You know, I may not know universal truths. You know, my opinion of God, you know, however good it might sound, it's just my opinion, and everybody has their own opinion of it because they have their own experience of it.
Yeah.
So going back to being 15. You know, and realizing, yes, number one, I want to have an active sexual life. Number two, I had a friend commit suicide, and I couldn't believe that there would be a God that would let something like that happen to a beautiful, intelligent, good young man. And I was also learning world history, learning what Catholicism and Christianity in general had done to millions and millions of people that look like me, only because they look like me. And I couldn't, and I was also very much made aware of the fact that a church is a business. And any organization that is created, you know, has the life force that it wants to sustain its own life. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely an element of an organization like a church that has to fend for its survival.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, in looking at church as a business, I just said no. I said no to everything. And, you know, that's actually something I can really respect in atheism, because I did identify as an atheist for a long time.
Yeah, me too.
There was a spiritual wasteland between, you know, when I was 15 and atheist newly, and when I was 40 and coming back to Christianity. Okay. And I only call it a wasteland because, you know, I was not just an atheist, but you know, I'm from Texas, and to me, if you use the word Jesus, then you are immediately stupid. You know, we live in a secular culture that prizes that then intellectually favors atheism over belief in God. Yeah, because belief in God is akin to superstition in intellectual circles. Mm-hmm. And that's the support of the culture. And I see definitely there, no matter what the religious organization, there's, you know, there is the promise and the ethics of the kingdom of God, the kingdom of peace, salvation, self-realization, whatever the organization is promoting as a pathway to God. There's that promise, and then there's the promise of the world, which is the safety of empirical thinking. You know, and that's things we believe in money. We prize hard work, you know, and all this stuff is important because we are living beings, but they're almost two separate realities. They're almost two separate things.
Duality is such a weird thing, man. It is.
And yeah.
Would you say that your own reexamination then later, once you hit 40, is what brought you back into the spiritual realm? Because you were maybe, just like I was, maybe in the past, what brought us to be atheists was because we had seen these bad things happening in the name of religion, because self-serving men were creating it as they went along to have, you know, power trips and money, things like that. But we learned as we got older that there's a different also set of people that aren't like that, and there are people that really are about the heart and love, and that is the religion itself, whether you believe in Jesus or Muhammad or, you know, Krishna or Buddha. The bottom line is love versus self-serving spiritual kind of trips, you know?
Yeah, the bottom line is always love. Yeah, and that's one thing that I look back at, you know, being atheist, being Buddhist, being pagan. You know, the study of Western and Eastern astrology. You know, I've been a fan of mythology since I could read. Yeah, I've been obsessed with learning about pantheons. You know, still my absolute favorite way to pray is in Native American ceremony. It is in, you know, sitting around the fire, sitting around the rocks, and having you know, speaking in the presence of my ancestors and powerful teachers, and calling out to Jesus, you know, through a sweat lodge. You know, I love to pray in that really visceral way. You know,
what are your roots, Frankie?
I'm just a Tex-Mex mutt. You know, I've done the ancestry thing. You know, I'm Spanish and German, North African, Aztec, Olmec. You know, like I'm black, white, and brown, and you know, from Texas. And I just feel like, you know, in all that searching, you know, I was always looking for God. I was always looking for connection. I was always looking to find a place of peace. Because, you know, like the time we're talking about spirituality in a time like now, where there is very little control that we have over racial tensions. There's very little control we have over, you know, the way this virus is spreading, the way it's being handled by our government and other governments. Because, you know, for the first time, you know, in a long time, you know, we're dealing with the same thing, the same problem as a world, and each culture has it a little bit differently to deal with, because there's varying degrees of how this the virus is affecting different places. You know, even in our own country, the big cities definitely have more at stake than a less densely populated area like ours, where we have a little more freedom because we have a little more space.
You know, just sorry to jump back for a second. But I was thinking about this, man, and a lot of truth-seeking souls seem to end up here in this part of Oregon and this part of the country. How did you end up from Texas in Oregon? What brought you here originally?
Well, I was touring as a music leader for Chris Chandler, he's a spoken word poet that just really created a niche for himself in this country as a performing poet, and so I helped to back up the music that supported his poetry, and we toured the West Coast, the East Coast, Canada. Like, I've seen the entire country from a band.
Wow, what's his name again?
Chris Chandler.
I'm going to look him up and try to play some of his stuff on the show sometime.
Oh, he's so fun. His approach, he's from Atlanta, Georgia, okay. Stone Mountain. And he actually comes from a long line of preachers, and he has that Southern Baptist preacher fire. But he's not necessarily Christian. He's not anti-Christian, like where I was for many years.
Yeah.
And I came back, through being here. There are many souls that are searching, and the New Age movement is very strong here in Southern Oregon, particularly in Ashland. And it's just everybody is looking for God, and the church over the past few generations has been very disenfranchising to a lot of people that want a more personal experience.
As you've gotten older, is it easier now for you to stay on the path of your own personal morality, or do you have issues with that still personally? Sobriety, staying faithful, things like that, or are you pretty much on the path these days? Are you okay?
Oh, I'm really on the path these days. I feel really grounded in who I am, and that's one of the things that Christianity has really helped to build into me is the idea of eternal forgiveness. Because that's an easy story to tell ourselves, is that we're bad, and it, for a while that was sort of the doctrine in Christianity is the concept of original sin. Well, that's actually not in the Bible. That was handed to us by, I believe, some young preacher in Dark Ages.
Somebody creating more guilt trips.
Yeah, I mean, we're beings of love. We were made from love. We were made to love. And that's the way that we walk, and I always equate it to, and some people get really mad at me when I get on this conversation because they think that I'm equating Jesus or just spirituality in general to Santa Claus, but there is a responsibility I feel that you have as an adult, where when I call it the wasteland and my spiritual searching years is. There is a wasteland between when you're a little kid and you're told the story of Santa Claus, and it's so amazing and magical, and it's Santa Claus is like the saint of wonder and generosity.
Saint Nicholas.
It's the spirit of giving, and the story is beautiful, and it's a good way to get kids round about after Thanksgiving to act maybe a little better. Once you start threatening their Christmas tree, then they seem to make their beds more. But then you get around 10, 11, 12 years old.
And wasteland.
Some jaded little buddies are like, oh, there is no Santa Claus, and then maybe you catch your dad putting your bike together, the night before. Yeah. The night before Christmas, and you're like,
and your bubble is burst.
You see the tag, and it says "Love Santa." You're like, oh,
man,
there is no Santa Claus, and it's crushing because you've been lied to, and you've been lied to spectacularly by a whole culture.
Yeah.
But then there's the wasteland between there is no Santa Claus and there's the spirit of Santa Claus, where you get to be a part of it. You get to hold up this wonder for the generations that are behind you, and you get to experience it again by being part of it. So
you're right.
Therein lies, the stories that you're told, like, here in the United States, whether you identify as Judeo-Christian or not, the stories. The stories of, there was Adam. The world was created in 7 days. The seventh day is for rest. There was the flood, and every culture has a flood story.
Yeah.
There was a flood. There was Moses. There was the burning bush. Like Jesus died. He was born. The wise men came. He died on the cross. He came back 3 days later. Whatever you know of Christianity, that.
Yeah.
And these stories, when they're told to you when you're little, they do hold power. Like as devout as I ever felt, as an atheist or a Buddhist, or someone practicing Wiccan and positive earth magic. Like as devout as I ever felt, the stories were never as magical because I was an adult when I heard them.
Well said, man.
So in returning to Christianity from all these other learnings, I get to be grounded in the magic of the stories that I know.
Yeah.
And experience them in a brand new way. I get to experience Jesus through the lens of self-realization, through the lens of enlightenment, through the lens of ancestral power.
And you know what, Frankie, I've got a couple of your songs lined up. I can't stay on the line much longer because today is our pledge drive, and I've really got to push it, man, because our station is in desperate need of financial support. But
now we're on the subject of tithing.
But it's
baby. Give things you love alive.
But what you're saying and how you're dealing with and seeing reality as coming out through your music, obviously, and you were kind enough to send me a couple of your songs, which I want to play both of them. The first one,
and these are brand new. Like I didn't, I feel like my music has always been spiritual. It's always been through the things that I've learned, and the only thing that has ever saved me has been love.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing those songs too, because when you sent those over, I'm like, well, that was quick. But
my good friend Sandy Fika had just reached out to me. He's toured the world playing with the band Firefall.
Yeah, the drummer of Firefall, correct?
Yes, he's the drummer of Firefall. He lives here in Southern Oregon. He does a thing called Use Your Gifts Foundation, where he helps to support upcoming artists. Normally they do a fundraiser over at the Criterion, and he'll grab some of his friends from those 70s and 80s bands to come and headline the show, and it raises money for his program.
That's right.
Do that this year. Anyway, he asked me if I'd be willing to help produce some of the young artists in exchange for studio time, and I'm like, Sandy, please, I need to get these songs on Derek's show.
Do this. Please thank him for us. That's so great that he was able to do that so quickly. I'm going to ask our listeners to be kind enough to give me a call, and if you would like to wait until 3 o'clock when the show's over, I'll stick around and take phone calls and any donations that people would like to call in. The number is 541-482-3999. You can also go to our website, of course, at kskq.org and follow the simple instructions on there on how to contribute. It's very easy and simple. And if you're ever going to contribute to KSKQ, the time is now, because we really need it. And with great guests like Frankie Hernandez and all the great shows that we bring to you Monday through Monday, like 7 days a week, there's like 60 self-produced shows. And Frankie, thanks again for being here today to talk about good stuff with me. I think I would like to roll into your song so I can open up the phone lines for people to call. Of course, Frankie Hernandez, do you have any gigs coming up that you would like to tell anyone about?
I know I didn't even think that far. I know there's some good ones coming up. I know we're going to be doing concerts in the park over in Shady Cove. I think we're closing the season out there. And we're going to be at Red Lily in September. There's a lot of things coming up. I didn't even think to promote anything.
Well, you can find him. He's easy to find online if you're in Southern Oregon. Frankie Hernandez, probably on just about most of the social media networks. Yeah,
Frankie Hernandez music on all of it. And actually, I just started a new identity, which is That Guy at My Church.
Nice. I saw that, actually.
That Guy at My Church is specifically dedicated to all of the worship music and Christian music that I've been writing. So if you've been a Frankie Hernandez fan for a long time and you really don't care about the Christianity, that's okay. I love you absolutely the same, and I get it. And the Frankie Hernandez page has all the Frankie Hernandez music it's ever had, and all the new stuff that's coming. And if you have become a fan of what I'm doing in my worship music and you don't really care for that other stuff, that's fine too. Just go to That Guy at My Church, and it'll have everything that I'm doing for God right there.
Thank you so much, Frankie Hernandez, my friend. You're at KSKQ Radio and the Earth Heart Radio Show. My brother, keep in touch, and thanks again, Frankie.
Thank you so much. Love you, brother.
Yeah, much love. Take care. There you have it, man. Good guy there, Frankie Hernandez, talented guy. You know, I've seen him play a couple dozen times, and since I've lived in the Valley, and we're going to go ahead and roll into a song by him that he was kind enough to record just for the show. That's pretty cool. But before I do, I'd like to say once again, it is our spring-summer pledge drive here at KSKQ Community Radio. We are reaching towards a goal to raise $3,000. Can I count on a couple of you guys to help out today? All you have to do is go to kskq.org, and if you can give $5 or $50 or $25 or $100, we really need the help. And after this song, I'm going to donate something. I'm going to look in my wallet right now, literally, and see what cash I can help donate to this cause, because we're all volunteers here at this community station. This isn't something I'm paid to do. Nope, it's a labor of love. I do this for free. It's not for free. It's a path for me, man. It's like more than a hobby, but less than a church, but somewhere in between. A temple and a hobby, I guess. I am Derek Moody. You are at the EARTHEART Radio Show. The number here is 541-482-3999. Could you give me a call and make a pledge? This is Frankie Hernandez with the tune he wrote called The Glory of God at KSKQ Radio and the EARTHEART Radio Show.
Fear not, dear sinner, you're in the hands of the Lord, and all your days of trouble are just a story of what happened before you ever thought twice about God's sacrifice as the Son and the Savior of me. So just start where you are. You're never too far from doing the best that you can for the glory of God, the glory of God, the greatest of callings, the smallest of jobs, do for the glory of God. Remember when you were younger and in the hands of the Lord, and it was easy to see the reason you were put here on this green earth for. Before the world brought you in to the comfort of sin, and then lies made a home in your heart. But it's a house made of sand. So take Jesus' hands, let him walk you back into your heart of the glory of God, the glory of God, the greatest of callings, the smallest of jobs, do for the glory of God. Lord, lift me up, Lord, let me in. Thank you for grace and for mercy from sin. Lord, lift me up, Lord, let me in. Thank you for grace and for mercy from sin. Lord, lift me up, Lord, let me in. Thank you for grace and for mercy from sin. I know when I'm going to my victories, I'm coming from victory, 'cause you fight for me. I know when I'm going to my victories, I'm coming from victory, 'cause you fight for me. That's the glory of God, the glory of God, the greatest of callings, the smallest of jobs, do for the glory, for the glory, for the glory
You're listening to KSKQ and the EARTHEART Radio Show with Frankie Hernandez and a tune called The Glory of God. I'd like to say thank you very much to Aletha Nowitzki for donating to KSKQ. Now, Aletha is our former office manager, and she's had a program on KSKQ in the past, and she's an awesome person and an awesome singer, and I forgot to get her billing address. So, hey, Aletha, I'll be calling you back at 3 o'clock to get your billing information, but I have everything else except just your physical address. You can be just like Aletha, and I wish you would. Aletha pledged a great amount. It's a cool $33. For some reason, that's like a strange magical number in numerology, I think. Because if you do numerology like I used to, I think 33 is a cool number. But hey, we really appreciate you, Aletha. And $33, we'll take it. And that's going to help with our bills, man. To keep the lights on, to pay up, take care of our antenna situation. We've got a transmitter issue. So yeah, we're taking care of things. The number here is 541-482-3999. If you are in Southern Oregon, or if you're outside of Southern Oregon, I thank you for being here at the EARTHEART Radio Show.
Established in August of 2019, you're listening to the EARTHEART Radio Show with Derek and Udo on KSKQ.
And it looks like in my wallet here, I have some cash to pay a bill that's not really due yet. And I think things are more important on this end, so I'm going to take this bill and unfold it, and I'm going to contribute a $100 bill to KSKQ because I believe so much in our community. So now there's $133 raised during this hour. Would somebody care to either match that or do half of that amount or a quarter of that amount even? You can go right to kskq.org. It's very simple if you have a debit or a credit card. You can be anonymous, or if you want your name on the radio and say, hello, I want to help out my station. Derek, sign me up. Just give me a call at 541-482-3999.
Avatars, sages, yogis, holy men, medicine men, helpers, elders, revolutionaries, and advocates of love. Today we honor and show love, respect, and gratitude.
Yeah, I'd like to pay tribute each week to another high-frequency saint. And again, I've got to say, it is a pledge drive weekend here at KSKQ. If you call me after 3 p.m. when the show's over, I'll stick around for a few minutes to answer calls. If you'd like to make any kind of donation at 3 p.m., that would be so great. If you're listening outside of this area, you know, do the math. We have different time zones. Every week I do pay tribute to another saint, and today I'm going to be tripping over my own tongue because I'm really not very good at pronouncing names anyway. It's one of my weak points, but Sister Tracy was kind enough to spell it out phonetically for me. I'll still probably ruin it, but I don't mean to, and if I do, no offense meant, and all apologies to the saint. Pronounced Kateri Tekakwitha. That is the given name, but she was baptized as Catherine, and informally known as Lily of the Mohawks. She was a Catholic saint who was an Algonquin Mohawk laywoman, born in the Mohawk village of Asser Nenon in the present-day New York State. 1656 she was born. She contracted smallpox in an epidemic. Her family died and her face was scarred. She converted to Catholicism at age 19 when she was renamed Gadeli. That was her first name, and her last name was Tekakwitha. She was baptized in honor of Catherine of Siena. Refusing to marry, she left her village and moved for the remaining 5 years of her life to the Jesuit mission village of Kanakawiki, south of Montreal. She took a vow of perpetual virginity. Upon her death at age 24, witnesses said that minutes later her scars vanished and her face appeared radiant and beautiful. She was shunned by some of her tribe for the religious conversion to Catholicism. She was the very first Native American to be canonized by Pope Benedict in 2012. Various miracles and supernatural events are attributed to her intercession. She avoided social gatherings. She became skilled at making clothes and belts, weaving mats, baskets, and boxes from reeds and grasses, preparing food and gathering produce. I just wish I could pronounce her name correctly. I feel bad. Gadeli. Gadeli is said to have put thorns on her sleeping mat and to have lain on them while praying for the conversion and forgiveness of her kinsmen. She believed in the value of offered suffering. She did not eat very much and was said to add undesirable taste to her food. Her health started to fail around the year 1680. She died at around 3 p.m. on Holy Wednesday, April 17th, 1680, at the age of 23 or 24, in the arms of her friend Marie-Therese. Her final words were, "Jesus, Mary, I love you." She purportedly appeared to 3 individuals in the weeks after her death. Her gravestone has a translated saying that does read, "The fairest flower that ever bloomed among red men." The first published account of her life was actually in 1715. Long live Kateri Tekakwitha. You are at the EARTHEART Radio Show. It's a pledge drive weekend. If you like what you hear, could you give us a call and make a donation today? That would be great. Please consider contributing to help us redirect the connection from our transmitter on Table Mountain to here, our new studio at 1661 Highway 99 North. So far, we've had 2 donations today, one for $100, one for $33. Thanks again to Aletha, listener, and a long-time KSKQ supporter and ex-volunteer that is sorely missed, to be honest. And I miss you very much, Aletha. And man, was she a great office manager. From what I hear, we have a new office manager. And yeah, we should talk more about her. Give her some proper time, though. Right now, I've got to get some music rolling for you, dear listener. This is a tribute to our beloved saint. This is called the Hymn to Gadeli, right here at the EARTHEART Radio Show in KSKQ Radio. beautiful tune. It's the hymn to the beloved saint. You are at KSKQ Radio at the Earth Heart Radio Show. I'm Derek Moody. Thank you to Aletha Nowitzki for being a donator. And you can be a donator. It's a pledge drive weekend at KSKQ. It's spring, summer pledge drive here. That's right. We are raising $3,000, and it's important that we do get that. Please give us a call at 541-382-4999. I'll be here at 3 o'clock when this show is off the air, taking a couple calls if you want to call me then, or you can go to kskq.org. KSKQ does have a new sponsor. Listeners who would like to support local community radio can now sign up for local internet services, and by doing so, directly help support this local community radio station. Visit www.sisq.net or call 541-734-2355 to get locally supported high-speed internet in your home or business. Wouldn't that be great? I think so. Philosophy Talk Radio is going to be up after the Earth Heart Radio Show in about 20 minutes or so.
Please tune in every Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific Time. You're listening to the Earth Heart Radio Show with your host, Derek Moody, on KSKQ Radio.
Please let go of your fear. Positive news is here.
Things aren't as bad as it seems, no matter what they say. News with an agenda is meant to instill fear. True news can instill hope.
And that's why we like to bring you the positive news. And I'd like to say once again to listener Aletha, I do need to call you when this show's over to get just a couple pieces of information to process your donation today. It is a spring summer pledge drive here at KSKQ. Please donate when you can. It is time for some positive news stories for you. And I will say that next week on the show, I'll be interviewing legendary guitarist from the famous Mahogany Rush rock band, guitarist Frank Marino is going to be talking to me live from Montreal, Canada, about his concepts of God. And Frank Marino is one of the best guitar players in the world, and I'm so fortunate to have him here next week. Frank Marino on Earth Heart Radio next Sunday. Positive news story number 1. A single mom and Uber driver in Memphis just wanted to do her part to help others during the COVID-19 pandemic, and now, thanks to a famous celebrity, she's been rewarded handsomely for her generosity. When Tammy Smith gave an exhausted nurse a ride home a couple of months ago, she felt inspired to show her gratitude. So she started buying and delivering meals to frontline workers. Well, over the past 2 months, she's delivered thousands of lunches and dinners to exhausted doctors and nurses at her local hospital, up to 60 meals on some days. She started raising money so she could deliver even more, which resulted in tens of thousands of dollars contributed and 3,500 meals dropped off every day for nearly 3 months. That's some love, right? A local news station praised her efforts, and the story spread even further, with the New York Post and London's Daily Mail recognizing her selfless work. Well, Tammy was thrilled because more publicity meant more donations, which meant she could do more good work for the hospital workers. On Mother's Day, the mother of 2 was invited to be on the Jada Pinkett web show. It's called Red Table Talk. She was happy to be getting the attention for her cause, but what happened next was more than she could have dreamed of. Yep. The actress and wife of actor Will Smith wanted to give her a special donation. Quote, "We want to purchase for you an eco-friendly car, a brand new one for Mother's Day," Smith said. "I have never known such generosity in my entire life," said Tammy to WMC News. Meanwhile, Tammy still makes those deliveries every night. Her generous work can be supported at her GoFundMe campaign, and you can do that at her PayPal, which is we3sing@gmail.com. Positive news story number 2. Uganda is recycling plastic bottles into face shields for hospitals. This is cool. Killing two birds with one stone, two Ugandan entrepreneurs working to upcycle plastic waste into building materials have altered their production to tackle the shortages of personal protective medical equipment in hospitals dealing with the COVID-19 patients. After the government ordered all non-essential businesses closed, Peter Akwoko and his colleague Paige Balcom, co-founders of Taka Plastics, continued working in their plastics processing facility. But instead of things like roof tiles, they began recycling plastic waste into face shields for medical workers. They're using locally sourced materials and molds for molten plastic, and they've so far made 1,200 of these face shields. Even more inspiring, the company's staff of 14 includes 6 employees who were homeless, jobless kids. Around 500 shields were sold to NGOs and privately managed health facilities at a low cost, and the other 700 were donated to public hospitals. Taka hopes to build up their success and expand their operations into a more appropriate plastic processing and recycling facility. Uganda sees hundreds of tons of plastic thrown away annually, so that's a great thing. You are at the EARTHEART Radio Show at KSKQ Radio. I'm Derek Moody, and reading the positive news. News story number 3. A new study by Harvard University adds weight to the idea that being altruistic can help us live longer. Altruistic acts such as volunteering could help us live longer, according to new research published by the American Journal of Preventive Medicine. A study of 1,300 adults, actually 13,000 adults in the U.S., found that people over the age of 50 who volunteer for a couple of hours a week have a substantially reduced risk of mortality, less chance of developing physical impairments, and an improved sense of well-being compared to those who don't volunteer. The results show that volunteerism among older adults doesn't just strengthen communities, but enriches our own lives by strengthening our bonds to others, helping us feel a sense of purpose and well-being, and protecting us from feelings of loneliness, depression, and hopelessness. A growing body of research has linked altruism to positive health outcomes. When the COVID-19 crisis finally subsides, we have a chance to create policies and civic structures that will enable a more giving society, I hope, right? Thank you for being here, my friends. I really appreciate you hanging out. Happy Father's Day, if you're a father. Thank you to my friends up in upstate New York, Bob and Red, for tuning in all the time and your support. Thanks to Shibo Torres, Brenda Rosh in Medford, Oregon, Brenda Aiken, also my friend Robin Clark in Central Point, Oregon. Hey, Robin, thank you for tuning in today, and I think Sister Tracy and Little Jet Dog are tuned in. You can hear Sister Tracy as she hosts the Church of Rock radio show tonight at 7 p.m. here on KSKQ. Positive news number 4. When an African-American man was afraid to walk in his upscale community, 75 neighbors walked with him. Yep, he grew up in a gentrified neighborhood with only a few African-American residents. But after confessing that he's always been afraid and felt uneasy walking alone on his own streets, his faith in humanity was restored by dozens of neighbors who walked with him in solidarity. The 29-year-old has lived in the 12 South neighborhood of Nashville his whole life after his family moved there 54 years ago. But over the course of his life, he's seen the neighborhood change dramatically. Quote, "Growing up in my neighborhood, I could always feel the eyes, the looks, and the cars slowing down as they passed by me," Sean told the Washington Post. A barrage of news reports of looting and protests raging over George Floyd's death came a Facebook post warning neighbors to watch out for suspicious black men, which added a new layer of fear to Sean's discomfort. Can you imagine? So 3 weeks ago, he took to Facebook and the online community, and he expressed his fear of walking alone in his own neighborhood. And what happened next was much more than he anticipated. Messages began pouring in from friends and strangers alike, saying they'd like to walk with him. So He posted a time and a place, letting everyone know where to meet in case they wanted to join him on his next walk. And when he arrived, 75 people were waiting to join him. He was overwhelmed. He was in awe at the whole thing. He seemed to transcend racial barriers. Everyone was in, so you just saw a sea of people, and you couldn't tell what anyone's color of skin was, he said. The uplifting spotlight on their common humanity soon received local media coverage, and Sean decided to organize a second walk in Nashville area and to push for similar walks in cities around the country. He received messages from neighborhoods in Georgia, Minneapolis, Denver, and Philadelphia, and that has started copying his idea. People are walking together. His GoFundMe has raised $7,000, so he booked a flight to Philadelphia for a walk on July 4th, and his hope is to organize a walk in a different city every week. Eventually, his dream is to walk across the whole country, giving hope to all those who are scared to walk alone. That's pretty cool, I think. My friends, you are at the EARTHEART Radio Show, and boy, the time has flown by. I do have time to play another song from my friend Frankie Hernandez. I'm trying to actually cue it up as I am talking because he sent it over via Facebook Messenger. So I've got to plug in a couple of things for you real quick, but I'll make it happen. This is a song Frankie recorded for the EARTHEART Show, and if you missed the interview earlier, he was a good chat. You can also surf over to kskq.org if you'd like to make a donation, because it is our pledge drive after all. And this tune is by Frankie Hernandez, and the song is called Please and Thank Yous at the EARTHEART Radio Show and, of course, KSKQ.
Every day, some version just depends on the day. You know that I do. It's not the words I say or the thoughts I relay. I know I just want to stay connected to you. It's always gratitude, asking forgiveness. Show me my smallness, show me your bigness. It's guide me and it's teach me, and I just want to come home. God, I sing please, 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 and in all of the thank yous. I'm sorry for the wrong that I do. I don't feel like enough, I need you to lift me up. And it's praise, praise, praise you for all of your glories. Raise me like Jesus before me. Thank you for all that you do with my please and thank yous. My please and thank yous. I know you know best when you deny my request. I've learned that I will end up blessed and at rest in your hands. When others take a fall, I get to answer the call. And I would pray for them all if I was given the chance. It's always gratitude, asking forgiveness. Show me my smallness, show me your bigness. It's guide me and it's teach me, and I just want to come home. God, I sing please, 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 and all of the thank yous. I'm sorry for the wrong that I do. I don't feel like enough, I need you to lift me up. And it's praise, praise, praise you for all of your glories. Raise me like Jesus before me. Thank you for all that you do with my please and thank yous. My please and thank you. My job is today, your job is tomorrow. My job is to pray, you paid for my sins and sorrow. My job is today, your job is tomorrow. My job is to pray. You paid for my sins, paid for my sins and sorrow. And I say please, 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 in all of the thank yous. I'm sorry for the wrong that I do. I don't feel like enough. I need you to lift me up. And it's praise, praise, praise you for all of your glories. Praise, praise, praise me like Jesus before me. Thank you for all that you do with my please and thank you. My please and thank yous. My please and thank yous.
You are at the EARTHEART Radio Show in KSKQ with Frankie Hernandez with Please and Thank You. Underwriting support for KSKQ comes from Medford Food Co-op. Medford Food Co-op nurtures a vibrant, healthy community and abundant local food system with organic produce, sustainable meals, gourmet cheeses, and a wide variety of gluten-free, vegan, and vegetarian options. The cafe offers fresh meal solutions for busy schedules, including house-made soups, custom sandwiches, creative salads, and a variety of hot entrees. Medford Food Co-op and the cafe are open daily from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. at 945 South Riverside, just short of Barnett Road. Info can be found at medfordfoodcoop.com. My friends, thanks for being here at the EARTHEART Radio Show. Thank you to Frankie Hernandez, who is my guest today. Next week, we'll be talking with Frank Marino, the legendary guitar player, the guy that became a rock star and quit because he decided he didn't want to be a rock star. And I mean, he made superstardom and quit. So that'll be a great time to, find out more about, somebody that really walks the walk, right? Philosophy Talk is on the way. Thank you for being here, my friends. I appreciate each and every one of you. It's a spring-summer pledge drive. If you'd like to give me a call, I'll be here for the next 5 minutes waiting for you to donate. Please do. At 541-482-3999. Thanks for being here. Much love.
You've been listening to EARTHEART Radio with your host,
Derek Moody.
EARTHEART Radio is produced by Shankara Das in association with Sister Tracy and Krishna Consciousness. Please tune in every Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for more EARTHEART Radio.